To begin with, I'm going to create a profile curve in the front view. I'll go down here, maximize the front view to get some more space to work in. And I'll use Draw Curve Freeform. And I want the curve to start over here and then kind of go upwards, kind of in this type of shape. And in order to start exactly on this line here, I'm going to create what's called a construction line. I'll go to the origin where I have a snap point. I'm going to click and hold down the mouse button and drag to the right. This creates a construction line when then I release over here. This kind of construction line can be used for additional snapping to create alignments, extensions, all kinds of things like that. So I'll use this line here and start the first point about over, say over here, and I'll move it up, and each of these points I'm now clicking and releasing to place each one of these points. Click and drag would create a construction line. And I'll right click to finish. You could also click the done button that was over here. Right click to repeat the last command, drag another construction line, and I'll create an inside curve, kind of following along, generally along this other one for this kind of shape I'm looking for. Now here, say I want to get a real subtle point placement and the snap is sort of preventing me from placing the point just a little bit over to the side. To fix that, you would zoom in a little bit and then you can get a lot more fine tuning in the shape. So if you find something snapping and getting in your way, that usually means you should zoom in to get some more control over that. And then right click to finish. This is a little lumpy in here, so I'm going to select these. Here I'm selecting by clicking and then dragging from the, I start to the right and drag to the left, which creates this dashed selection box. The dashed box, which is sometimes called a crossing box, selects everything that intersects it in any way. If I go from the left towards the right, then the only things that are completely captured inside the box will be selected. Sometimes you want one or the other. It can be easier depending upon what you're doing. So in this case, I'll go from the right to left and I'll say show points. I'll just edit these a little bit to kind of smooth things out a little bit. And I'll just call that good for now. I'll turn off points by clicking on the escape key on the keyboard. One tap of escape deselects everything. The second tap will turn points off. So now let's create the base surface for the crown. I'll select these two, come over here to construct revolve, pick the revolve axis over here going upwards, and that will create this surface. I will actually edit these curves again to pull, I want to pull this down a little bit so I'll have this area sticking out the bottom here, and when you edit curves the revolve will update. Now the reason why I dragged that down was because I want to slice off that part to form the base of the crown. And to slice it off, I'm going to draw a line over here, and I want the line to start over here and go all the way across. What I'm going to do is drag a construction line from there and now start one point there and one point over here. So this line is dividing this into two, and to actually cut it I will select this shape, say boolean difference, select the line as the cutting object, right click to finish selecting cutting objects. Now this has divided this into two pieces. Here you can see that I now have the bottom ring. So let's undo that. Now I will begin to draw the club shape, and I'll do that with a circle, and I will start and drag a construction line up through here, and I'll place the center of the circle about here and make it about that big, let's say. Now let's hide this so we can kind of see what we're doing a little more in here. I'll select this circle, say transform, copy, grab the center as the first point, and then the next point about down here to drop this copy off. right click to finish, select this one, now say transform mirror, mirror it around here. Now I can grab all three of these and say construct boolean union, combine them all into sort of the top of the club. Now I'll use draw curve freeform to draw the foot part. Let's say about like that. And I'll select it, use transform mirror to bring it over there. And now let's trim this piece so this will all connect together. So I'll select this, I'll say edit trim, select these two as the cutting objects, right click to finish selecting. I now select pieces to discard, right click to finish selecting that step. Now I got the basic outline of my club. Let's join that all together into one piece. Now I'll go from the side and let's just pull this over here a little bit off to the side, and I'll draw a line snapping onto these two ends to finish that. Now let's bring back the crown shape. Two clicks on hide will show everything. The first click on hide shows the objects that are hidden and lets you pick one. So if you have many that are hidden, you can show just one of them. If you want to show everything, click twice on hide and everything will be shown. Now let's take this and say array circular, snap onto that origin point again, and let's give it 6 copies around, and let's delete these 3. Now we would like to cut this shape using these. Now a Boolean difference that cuts holes in things would leave club shaped holes in the shape, but we don't want that. We want to cut away everything else and only keep the areas of the clubs, and that's what the Boolean intersection tool will do. So we'll select this, say construct Boolean intersection, select these as the second object set, right click to finish selecting, and now the spokes of the crown have been created. Basically we modeled this shape and kept only the parts that were intersect the inside of this with what was already there. We can now just delete all these curves that we used for constructing this. Now let's select everything and use Boolean union to fuse it all together into one single piece. And there you have it, one crown of clubs. Now some of the ideas here, we drew some key curves that define some of the shapes to be used. One was the profile of the revolution, and the other one was the profile curve of the club that was used in the Boolean operation. Another concept here is it sometimes is helpful to cut pieces out of one common surface. Like if we had tried to model this ring, this bottom ring part as a completely separate curve than this top part, then it would be really hard to make it as seamless of a connection as this. When it all comes from one common surface and you cut that with different pieces, it's easier for those pieces to join together seamless later. And there you go.